Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Three Ranger Bros Studios. Of course, I'm your host, manager, and producer, Tai Tiger. I hope everyone is doing grand. I hope everyone is doing well. And today, me and my brother Freddie, one of our council members, thought it'd be a really interesting idea if we took the concept of animal spirits from Power Rangers Jungle Fury and apply them to other fandoms. So, you know how in Power Rangers Jungle Fury, Casey's got the animal of the tiger, and it matches personality very well. Then you've got Master Swoop, who has the spirit of the bat, who matches him very well. We thought we'd do the same type of thing, giving animal spirits to characters in different fandoms, kind of following suit from Power Rangers Jungle Fury. And in this video, we're going to be giving animal spirits to the 5 main conduits in Infamous Second Son. We're big Infamous Second Son fans, can you tell? We'll be doing this with other fandoms as time goes on, so definitely let us know down in the comments down below which other fandoms you guys want us to apply animal spirits to. We're doing this because Freddy's favourite Power Rangers series is Power Rangers Jungle Fury, and it's one of my favourites too, so I thought, why not? So with that being said, do of course hit the like button, subscribe button, and notification bell, and let's dive in with giving all 5 of the main conduits in Infamous Second Son their very own animal spirits. Okay, so we're going to be doing something a bit odd and different today. We're going to be giving the 5 main conduits in Infamous Second Son animal spirits in kind of the same sense that Power Rangers Jungle Fury does to their characters. So do you want to start with our main man first or our main man last?
Well, I don't mind. I honestly, I do not mind which one you want to start with. I don't mind doing the last or first. I just think the one I've chosen will kind of surprise you a little bit.
Okay, do you know what? Let's go with Hank first, because technically, he's actually the first conduit we see in the game.
Yes. Okay.
With active powers. So let's go with Hank first.
Okay. So my idea of his animal spirit, which would not be massively surprising because of what he ends up doing later on in the game, but I think it has a bit more. There's a bit more of a reason behind it, because I try to look at it. I try to look at the animal spirits based on like their overall like stories and who they are as a person, what they've done in their lives and things like that, that best represent them, if that makes sense. So for Hank, I chose a snake. Now, the reason why I chose a snake is because obviously, they're obviously, whenever you refer to people as snakes, you know them as like traitors or like backstabbing frauds and stuff like that, which obviously Hank kind of did. Hank kind of did betray you and stuff. Obviously, there was a reason behind it. It was because he wanted to escape Augusty's clutches to, go be with his daughter. But he's not a good man. Hank is not a good man. He even described, like, right at the beginning of the game, he was a criminal when he got his powers. Even before he got his powers, he was a criminal. So he never really had any proper growth or anything like that. And as people know with snakes normally shed their skin, but they try to represent trying to escape their past, but never fully outrunning it. I'm reading notes right now, so don't mind me, because I made sure to write all my stuff down so I don't forget anything. But yeah. So Hank's criminal past was not about it was for personal gain, but not just for personal gain. It was simply to survive. And I guess Hank. I mean, that's the thing. We never really get to know a lot about Hank in the game. We only really know like what we know like during the then and now of the game. We don't really know a lot about his past. So I'm just going off of speculation here, and yeah, I just think the snake is probably the best to fit him. That's the best animal I could research that fit his character the best, and I think that would best represent him, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think that makes a lot of sense actually. Because obviously when it comes to snakes as well, they it depends on the type of snake, but some snakes like, they I don't know how to word this. They're playful with their prey, I guess is the best way to play it. And Frank is,
Yeah,
he's a bit of a jokester. He's a bit of a hothead, and stuff like this. And also, snakes lash out, and they lash out quick, fast, and they scurry. And that's literally what Hank does. He causes the most amount of damage, then tries to skip down. So yeah,
yeah.
absolutely makes sense. So for me, for Hank, I actually gave him the porcupine.
Okay, okay.
So the way that I saw this was, again, I'm going down the same sort of route that you're doing, exactly as I'm. So the way that I saw this was, the porcupines have to carry these big quills that are quite sharp, and if anyone goes near a porcupine and touches it, the quills can obviously get stabbed into you and hurt you, but it also leaves the porcupine, which can actually hurt the porcupine in some cases. And the porcupine's stuck with this. The porcupine can't, dull them down. It can't relinquish the quills. It's stuck with it, and it's used as a defense mechanism, absolutely. And that's how I kind of saw Hank. Was, he's just a troubled guy at the end of the day. Yes, he's a massive dickhead, but he's just a troubled guy at the end of the day. And no matter what he does, he always ends up hurting someone. And that's the
Yeah,
entirety of his storyline within Infamous Second Son, is he's just always hurting people. And that's literally what porcupines do if they're around too many people at once, is they're going to end up hurting someone. So that's kind of why I
exactly.
went down the porcupine route. And also porcupines, they do nurture, their offspring and stuff. And Hank is a dad, so I thought that kind of made a good little balance there too. So yeah, I went with the porcupine because I think it kind of matches Hank's destructibility around others. If
Yeah.
you
No, I agree. I agree with that 100%. I can definitely see that working for him. I think we both picked pretty decent animals there.
Okay, let's go with our all-time favorite ex-druggie. Let's go with Fetch. Or Abigail,
Oh,
but her name's Fetch.
yeah, we all our homies call him Fetch. Anyway, so I have a very interesting one, and I think you'll like the reason why I picked this animal. I think personally for Fetch, she would have the Phoenix. Now,
Ooh. Okay.
obviously, as you know, if you don't know the story, then go play it. If not, then if so, then obviously, as you know, as Ty just gracefully called her, yeah, she's a drug. She was a druggie. She was a druggie. She was absolutely freaking hooked on drugs with her brother, and constantly looked for a fix every single chance they get. And obviously, with her powers, that made that even more dangerous. And obviously, as you know, that all led to her ending up killing her brother. Spoiler, spoiler, spoilers. Um, and she was at an all-time low. She essentially a part of her died. A part of her literally died. Well, not literally, but you know what I mean. And being in Curtin K, obviously, she was down in the dumps for a good long period of being in there, until obviously she was able to break out of Curtin K and try to basically live the life of vengeance, killing every single drug dealer that was around, and as Fetch so gracefully worded it, burned Brent's name into their chests. So and then obviously after meeting Delson, depending on which route you go on, she ends up becoming stronger and mentally better than ever, basically being reborn like a phoenix. Because as you know, in mythologies and stuff like that, the phoenix is known for hating the fact that we're immortals, so they ended up getting burned by the sun and then being reborn again, so have a constant, endless cycle of dying and coming back from the dead. And I just think this bird perfectly symbolizes, but it basically perfectly encapsulates Fetch's story, because obviously she survives being essentially dead, because obviously drugs don't tend to really do well for you, obviously. So rising from inevitable self destruction, like really well signifies her. And and I like this little phrase that I found: becoming stronger after burning down your past. And I just feel like her redemption story perfectly fits the Phoenix, and I think that is personally why I think the Phoenix would be her animal spirit.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And yeah, she doesn't exactly like die and get reborn, but personality and her
Mentally,
life, mentally, yeah, her entire life just crashes and burns, and then she has to build anew. And thanks to Delson and working with Eugene and beating Augustina and stuff, that she's able to actually kind of start over. So I guess you could say that she was reborn in that sense. So yeah, I completely understand where you're going. And also with her neon powers, it's very pretty, bright and colorful, and phoenixes are quite often depicted as big, bright and colorful. So
yeah,
that also makes
yeah.
sense. So for me, I went with a spider.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
So for two different reasons. The first one is spiders are always alone. If spiders do end up mating, the female usually eats the male in a lot of spider species. And as soon as spiders have their offspring, they don't stick around. They all leave and go off and live out their spider lives. They don't ever stay with their mum or anything like this. So they're always alone. And Fetch is up until Delson arrives, she's kind of alone. And even when, she did have, the people that she used to hang out with whilst doing drugs and all this sort of stuff, she was technically still alone. It's not exactly a life where you
Yeah.
have people you can bond with. But also the second reason is because spiders are known, some really unique spider species are known to be really like in their own unique way artistic in their webs. And obviously, as we know, Fetch is a bit of an artist when it comes to, when we first find out who Fetch is, when she does kill off the drug dealers and stuff, she kind of does these weird, like, memorial grounds for the dead bodies in, like, this neon artistic way, and we have to find them and take pictures of them and stuff. And I think that the spider would represent, not only the loneliness of Fetch, the badassness of Fetch, because spiders are pretty cool and Fetch is pretty dope too. But also, I feel like there's some creativity in Fetch,
Also,
and I wanted to kind of symbolize that.
also, don't forget in First Light, there's literally one of the side quests is making art graffiti with your neon powers. So
Exactly. So, like, I feel like the whole, the nature artistry, I guess, in the webs that spiders can, like the weird, wacky stuff spiders can do, I feel like would really mirror well with Fetch's first off broken mentality, but then broken but trying to do better mentality.
yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that.
Let's go with our favorite awkward gamer. Let's go with Eugene.
Okay. Now this one was the one I kind of had a little bit of a struggle looking for because I wasn't really because we don't really know a massive amount about Eugene because obviously as you know he's quite reserved, he's quite introverted, quite quiet. Um, and all we kind of know is he just kind of doesn't gel well with people. Um, but I think I have an okay answer for this. And I've chosen now. Bear with me here. I chose the owl. Now,
Okay.
why I pick owl? Because they're known for seeing the world in a different perspective to everything else, and they're known because I don't really I can't hope I remember, but I remember somebody saying like, oh, like the way the owls can see are vastly different to every other species. And I feel like that's perfect for somebody who spends most of their lives living in a digital world because it's Eugene knows this world better than anybody else. And he feels most comfortable being alone with digital angels and video games and stuff like that. And, the owls symbolize what people miss. Perfect for someone who retreats in a world only he understands. And not only that, owls are you never see owls in a group. They're always separate. They're always alone. They're always lone wolves, that kind of thing. Which is exactly what Eugene is. Eugene, like, as when we get to the segment where we find that that angels are taking suspected conduits and stuff, we find out that it's Eugene doing it all by himself. He hasn't got a group. He doesn't have like henchmen or anything like a typical villain would. He's just a kid by himself, just in his own way, trying to make the world a better place. Especially for conduits, because he saw what Augustine and that were doing to them, and he tried to save them. To some of the to Reggie's dismay, of course. But yeah, I just feel like in terms of his perspective of everything and like what he would do, what he does for a living and stuff like that. Now, I feel like the owl is the closest I could find to represent that. It's good for showing his perspective that no one else understands, because I know owls have a very similar case where no one, because they only understand the world that they only understand it the way they know it. No one else does. So that's why I think the owl best suits Eugene.
Yeah, I also think that, a lot of owls can, like, rotate their head more than a usual animal can, and I think that would be a really good representation of, like, Eugene's awkwardness, jumpiness, the way that he's very fearful of the world at first, and the very first time Eugene actually leaves his lair, he's hidden behind, like, a corner, and he's like, I'm just going to stay back, so I feel like that would kind of mirror that really well.
Stealth, as he calls it. But yeah. And yeah, owls are known for retreating every single time they feel threatened. So, and that's exactly what Eugene does. So, yeah.
So I went down very similar reasoning to you, but I went down a completely different animal to you.
Okay.
For Eugene, I went with the meerkat.
Okay. Oh no, I could see that. I could see that, definitely.
Okay, so bear with me, right? So first off, meerkats are known for standing on their hind legs and being like perched up for ages on end, being really like aware of their surroundings, and that's literally what Eugene does. He's so scared of the outside world, he wants to hide away. Second reason, meerkats are all very well known to live in burrows and like live underground and stuff. Eugene literally lives in like some sort of bunker looking thing, right? And then thirdly, Eugene, yes, okay, isn't a social bug, but he makes the angels, and he summons the angels and devil things, and he, makes them work for him. Meerkats are very sociable animals. They literally live in groups of like 12 to 30 odd or something, and I think that would really well mirror Eugene's angel and, his summons, if you will, because there is an alpha meerkat. Most types of meerkats have an alpha, so he would be the air quote alpha meerkat, if you will. But they can be sociable, and they can like meet other meerkats and stuff. And I feel like Eugene does get more sociable near the end of the game, and I feel like he does come out of his shell a little bit. But also, meerkats do have a lot of predators, a lot of flying, and a lot of canine-esque predators, and I feel like the dupes, do kind of that they kind of follow the pack, if you will. So I feel like that kind of worked really well for Eugene too. But yeah, I feel like his whole scarediness, his timidness would work well in a meerkat sense.
Cool. Yeah, no, I like that. I definitely agree with that, 100%. I could definitely see your reasoning for that.
This August, the Three Ranger Bros and the council members are in grave danger. This is Nodzor, a criminal from the cyber world. Here he has hacked the Three Ranger Bros studios, and here he is presenting 4 villainous videos, dropping every single Tuesday in August. These videos will combine dramatic story narrative with your ordinary YouTube videos, causing explosive results. Can Tai Tiger save the Three Ranger Bros Studios, or will they forever be in crisis?
So let's go down our big bad. Whoa, okay, no, hang on, that sounded dodgy. I apologize. Let's not go down our big bad.
Rewind.
Let us discuss our big
The
bad.
antagonist, our
Yeah.
antagonist of the game.
Let's talk about the animal spirit we're gonna give to Augustine.
Good old Brooke.
Yeah.
All right. So I quite like the idea of this one because after doing research on it, I think it definitely makes sense. And I chose the scorpion. Now, scorpions, as I did some research, and scorpions embody duality, which means they want balance. They're armored, they're defensive, and they do the things they do because of the harsh environments they come from. And that exactly happened to Augustine. She had to survive under the pretense of everybody out to get conduits, and she gained her powers while being in the military. So she's known to be in very dangerous situations. She gained her powers and then had to go on the run. But then, obviously, she made the choice to imprison a conduit and give them to the government, which allowed them the funding for the DUP. Now, now, when she's in control, she likes to plan. She's manipulative. She definitely knows how to get in your head. She definitely does that, and she only ever gets her hands dirty whenever she finds it necessary, which is a very Scorpion thing to do. They're very known for picking their battles and not getting too involved if they know they can't win, which I've noticed and doing some research. Scorpions are very like that. They're precise and they're strategic and they're unyielding, which is exactly what Augustine is as well. But the whole duality thing is obviously with Augustine's morals. She thinks kidnapping and taking conduits to Curtin K is so they could be protected, not to imprison. They want them. She wants them to feel safe from the outside world of the government trying to cause them harm, and she feels like the only way to do that is to keep them away from society. And that's where the duality thing comes into play. Yes, she's taken them against their will, but it's for a good reason. Now, that doesn't make her a good person per se. It just means, but you can see the gray area that her morals is, and I feel like that's why a Scorpion would fit her well in my eyes. So, yeah.
Well, see, here's the thing. I completely agree with everything you just said. And that would be because I also chose the Scorpion for
wow. Oh, wow, okay.
So there's a myth. It is completely a myth. It's not true at all. But there's a quote that says that never be a scorpion because a scorpion will often sting itself. That's a complete myth.
Yeah.
Scorpions can't sting themselves. That's a complete myth. But going off just that saying alone, she does end up doing more damage than good. By doing all of this, she causes Hank. She causes Fetch and Eugene. She has this whole idea of releasing them because technically speaking, that was planned. Hank breaking out. She thought, okay, let's find a way to get us more money, more conduits arrested. Let's find a way to expand, if you will. And it goes completely corrupt because of Delson. And, she pissed off Delson. And it goes horribly wrong. And she ends up losing everything. No matter which ending you take, she ends up losing everything. And
Also,
it's almost like her great plan failed because of her own wit. So it's almost like she stung herself.
And also, you could also say she almost literally stings herself in the leg because she gives Delson her concrete powers.
Yeah,
and then gets beaten by them.
Another reason why I went with Scorpion is because they are venomous, and the way that she hurts the tribe
Yeah,
it's killing
Cornish
them.
tribe, yeah.
It's killing them unless a person with the same powers removes it, and it's not poison. It's just the concrete, but it's
It's
almost like poison.
degrading.
Yes,
Degrading, yeah.
yes, it's almost like a venom, and so that's another reason why I went with the because obviously if you get stung, some scorpions can kill you literally, with their venom. So I thought
Oh
maybe
yeah.
that'd be a nice little duality there with the whole scorpion. So I'm not going to change my answer. I'd disagree with you and say yeah, well, I'll go with
Yeah, just
scorpion.
yeah, I like your added on points. That yeah, that brings it to whole perspective there. Nice.
Okay, let's go with our main man, Delson Rowe. What you got?
The main character. Okay, this one I think this one might be the one you're probably going to be the most surprised on and the most interested to hear why I chose this. But for me, I chose the wild Mustang horse for Delson. Now,
Okay, was not expecting you to say those words. Please continue.
I know I sound like a nerd for how many times I keep saying I did my research. But I did my research, and I've learned that these Mustang horses are known to be free-spirited, untamed, and impossible to control. I feel like that describes Delson to a T, because even before he gets his powers, he's just he's a delinquent. He doesn't follow the rules. He always does his own thing, and every time Reggie tries to tell him to stop, he's like, nah. I want to let people know that I exist and that I matter. And I feel like and the Mustang horse is known for when they go wild and when they start losing their shit. They just become over the top. They show people and they're not afraid. Um, yeah, and as the internet describes, they are untamed by nature. They don't obey fences, paths, or expectations. They carve their own, which is exactly what Delson does. And yeah, to kind of compare the two, he rejects the authorities, he pushes boundaries, and he refuses to be boxed in by labels like criminals or conduit threats when he gets his powers. Um, you know, so a Mustang also rebels for freedom, which is also what Delson likes to do. So Mustangs are known for their high energy, impulsiveness, boldness, and playful aggression. And as we know, Delson can be a freaking freight train when he wants to be, because he is a very, very, very powerful individual, and we all know how hard a horse can kick. And if you get hit by one of those rockets from Delson, you basically might as well be getting hit by a horse, because that stuff hurts. So, and yeah, and again, these Delson is described with those points very obviously. He jumps into danger with a grin, which is exactly what horses have no fear. Delson has no fear. 9 times out of 10, I don't think there's ever been a time where Delson has been afraid of anything. He just jumps in because he thinks he can take on the world because he has powers. You know, he's also really good at learning these powers, which is very horses tend to pick up on that kind of stuff. Like in terms of picking up like how to maneuver well across problems, which is exactly which Delson does very well. He he treats fights like challenges, and horses, as we know, can be very competitive. They like when put in the right situations, they know they want to be better. They want to, overcome every obstacle, which again, Delson wants and evidently does. And then to finally to put the nail in, horses are known to be wild, spirited forces of nature, which I believe Delson is a very force to be reckoned with. And that personally, those bits of details there is exactly why I think Delson fits the Mustang horse.
Yeah, bro. Honestly, when you first said it, I was like, did my brother accidentally drink cactus juice? But now that you've explained it, yeah, fair enough. That makes my animal seem really lame. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
But
Yeah, yeah, when I said I did my research, I was not fucking kidding.
oh no, I did research, but it's just like I don't think mine's as good as yours now. But honestly, pretty good. Well done, bro. That was really sick. I like that a lot. So I went with the chameleon,
Okay. Okay.
but not for the reason that most people would think. Obviously, first off, chameleons can like blend in, and obviously you could always say that like Delson can always blend in with other conduits because he can like borrow their powers and shit. So like you could always go down that route. But it's more the name.
Okay. Yeah. Chameleon. Yeah.
So the a bit of education for those who don't know. So
Weak-minded fools.
the English word for chameleon is a simplified spelling of the Latin word chameleon, and if you break down chameleon, it's a compound of two phrases: on the ground and lion.
Hmm.
And that is why I went with chameleon, is because of that. It's one, a compound of words. And according to Wikipedia, when someone says it's a compound of words, it means it consists of more than one stem compounding the process of word formations to create a new word. So think about who Delson is. He's, taking other powers to create himself a more of a powerhouse, but he also brings like he literally says it in the ending of the good ending. He even says it there. It's he's a nobody. You've got literally a gamer and a druggie, and they managed to take down one of the biggest corporations there is. He's the
Yep.
compound out of all of them, but it's the on the ground and the lion part that I wanted to take. Yes, I know he can fly and shit. Take that away. I'm not talking about that, but he's always on the ground, and in my eyes, that means very like Captain America-esque. Like you also said it. He's very like straightforward. He's happy to jump into danger. He's very happy to like hey, there's a whole squad of dupes about to shoot up a bunch of conduits. Not on his watch. He's happy to be the guy to do this sort of shit. And then Lion, two things. First off, lions lead the pack. That's literally what Delson does. Does
Oh
he not?
yeah.
But
Oh,
second
yeah,
of
he
all,
does, yeah.
lions are one of the biggest predators on the planet because they're the king of the king of the savannah. Delson literally can take any conduit's power. All he's got to do is touch them. He's literally one of the king of conduits.
Yeah. And if you go off the evil ending, yeah, he would literally be the king of the conduits because he literally, as he likes to call it, shakes everybody's hand as they're leaving Curtain K.
But also, when it comes to chameleons, they can adapt to so if a chameleon is taken from one rainforest and put to a different rainforest, it will adapt very easily. And
Yeah.
I
Oh
think
yeah. No. Oh yeah. Yeah. No. I could definitely see that.
like I think Delson adapted to Seattle really well, and he adapts to every situation. He instantly, the second he takes Eugene's powers and he's panicking because he hasn't got anything, he quickly sorts out the problem with the help of his brother. Sure, but he quickly sorts out the problem and he sorts out his powers. When spoiler for the game, when his brother does eventually die, he doesn't just sit there and twiddle his thumbs and get drunk, whatever. No, he takes
Wallows in defeat. Yeah.
he literally sorts like shit out, But yeah, I know it's a bit of an odd way of thinking about it, but I went with the chameleon for those reasons.
Yeah. No. I definitely. No. No. I definitely think. I could definitely see it, and I don't think it was boring. I think there were a lot of points there that definitely pointed towards it being for Delson that I didn't pick. For my animals. So yeah. No. I think equally they were both good.
Well, there we go. That's our animals that animal spirits-esque that we would give the main 5 conduits in Infamous Second Son. And there you have it. We have given all 5 their own animal spirits, and I think we did a pretty darn good job there. Big shout out to Freddy, of course, for helping me with this video. With that being said, I apologize about the state of me. It is sweaty and hot around in the UK at the minute. And, of course, look out for August. Next week, we're not going to have a video, just we're dropping the trailer again. Well, dropping the actual trailer as its own video, shall we say, for August's event. August is on the 300 Road Studios channel, known as the Month of Villainy. So definitely look out for August, as we've got a little narrative storyline playing out, and of course, I can't even speak, 4 videos filled with villainy topics, so definitely look out for them. And we hope that you enjoy our little narrative that goes alongside of it. With that being said, though, like I said in the beginning, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, and notification bell. Do give us some ideas of what other fandoms we could give animal spirits to. Do hit that comment section down below. We really appreciate all the comments and stuff. We love you all. Roar of Passion, and we shall see you guys in the next one. Peace.